Wait, I gotta make sure. I'm unmuted. Perfect. What is up, guys? Oh my goodness, I'm so excited you're here. I'm so excited to be with you. This is going to be absolutely incredible. This is going to be an incredible training and it's jam-packed. So today is going to be a full day. And I want to just share with you, in fact, here we go again. I should have had this planned ahead of time. I'm going to make sure I get that link for you guys. Here's what I want to give you. Today we're going to have our hour training, right? We're going to have our hour training together. It's going to be an hour, and that's what you get for the next 3 days, which is absolutely incredible. Like that, it's going to be so good. But on top of that, we are going to be having a special Q&A later in the day. That's going to happen in my private group for my VIPs. All of you can be a VIP. All you have to do is make sure that you put your email address. Well, let me just, so that I know where to send invite stuff to. Let me do this for you guys so you are aware and we are all on the same page. See, this is what it looks like to be like. Here we go. Okay, so I want to share this with you because there we go. All right, guys, here we go. All right, I'm going to drop this in the chat. You guys are going to have that as access. If you go click that link, you are going to be able to click on that link. You're going to be able to go to my email list and then you'll get access to my Facebook group. So that's how you're going to get reminders for events. It's just it'll be really, really great. Plus, on top of that, everybody on my email list gets amazing value all week long. So that's a perfect place to be. If you're not already on my email list, then that will take care of you for the next 3 days. You'll get reminders. You'll get to be in the Facebook group and enjoy VIP Q&A. You can submit your questions so that I can actually answer your specific question. All of that's going to happen. But I'm going to be laser because we don't have that much time today. And I'm super excited to spend this with you because really what this is about is jumping into the heart of why we are creators, right? Like this isn't about YouTube as the only space to build a community. In fact, if anyone were to say that, just like click off them because they're not telling you the truth. There are many, many incredible, incredible people and incredible creators and incredible platforms out there that are powerful. The reason I stress and emphasize and spend so much time in the YouTube space as a content coach is because it's a powerful place not only for us to lead our own lives, to lead our own content, to get out of our comfort zone, to stretch, but video over the last few years has exploded in a way to connect to our communities in a deeper, more intimate level. And YouTube is an incredible space where you can not only use video on the platform, but you can support your community in building levels and levels of intimacy and value with them. Super, super valuable. Mimi, I love that you're here. Yeah. This is going to be such a fun time. So I'm going to be teaching you my 3-step process. This is what I teach all my clients. It's what I teach myself. I had this moment this morning this last week where I literally was talking to one of my friends, and I was also talking to my mom about this because she looks at me and she's like, oh my goodness, how do you do this? Like, I would never, I'm just feeding you, like it's good. And I told her, I said, Mom, sometimes I have a hard time taking my own advice. Sometimes it's personal to me. And I shift the logic and I make it hard and difficult. And we're going to support all through that this week. It's going to be an amazing time. I got you. I'm here to support you. But one of the things that I teach myself is the same process I teach all my other clients. Let me tell you, we're all going through this together at different levels, at different steps, but we're all going through the same process. And the reason I love this process is because once you learn it, you just keep on doing it over and over again as you level up. You keep on like rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. And it's incredible to look at it, to get feedback about where you are, to see what you get to shift, what you get to customize, what works for you. But you just keep on going through the same process. So today and over the next 3 days, we're going to be learning that whole process. But today we're going to be jumping into step 1 out of the 3 steps. I'm going to share with you the 3 steps so that you have a gist of where we're going briefly. And then we're going to jump right into step 1. So I have my notes up here just so you guys know. I have like this big Post-it note with like all this like squirrely. It's fun. I'd love to show you, but it's like I'm an artist. So I love things that are beautiful. So the 3 steps to our process are serve, build, and grow. Serve, build, and grow. Today, we're going to be diving into service. And I know so many of you who follow me, this is where your heart is. This is where your heart is. You're like, man, I want to serve. Like I want to be generous. I want to give to people. I don't want it to be about money, but I don't want to be in like chained to money either. Right? It's like this internal battle between money, like making money, and doing the things we love, being in service for the people that we love. So, through this process, we're going to learn the beautiful transition, the beautiful ebb and flow of creating consistency, financial consistency, like scheduling it, inconsistency in your life, creating freedom in your life, while also being in service of the people that you love. Now, I will say the reason I start with this step, the reason I start with serve, the reason serve is number one, is because it's where people miss. So many creators jump into YouTube, they start making content, and they're like, huh, I wonder who this is for. I wonder who this is for. Have you ever tried something, anything, not even just YouTube, like, have you ever tried something and you've been like, I don't know why I'm doing this, right? It gets stressful. It gets hard. It gets difficult because then it's just this thing that you do and it has no why, it has no reason, it has no purpose. So today we're going to be diving into who is your audience, who are you serving? Now, I'm going to be real with you guys right now. When I first started YouTube, everybody was telling me this. Well, let me rephrase. Like 20% of the people that I was surrounding in my space for YouTube were telling me this. I wasn't listening to them. I was listening to all the people that were like, get big fast, get rich fast. Like, here's how you monetize in less than 2 months. Here's how you like. I just wanted to get in and get it and get fast. Like, let's move, let's go. Instead of understanding that if I don't have a foundation of who I serve, who is my audience, and this is true of any business you build anywhere, not just YouTube. This is a beautiful step-by-step process that you learn, and this will apply to so many areas of business. Now, I want to get away from the business word because some of that, like, that turns you off sometimes because it's like, oh, like business, I don't want it to be there. Like, meh. Let's focus on service. Because at the end of the day, every business is about who you serve. It's not about the product, it's about who you serve. Abby, love you. I'm glad you're here. This is about who you serve, okay? It's not about the product. Any business that pushes the product, they're going to be disappointed. They're really going to be disappointed. So here's the thing. This is about service. Who are your people? What are their struggles? What are they going through? How do they feel? And here's the exciting part. And this is what I needed support on because I couldn't get past my mental blocks of being like, this is a fake person in my head, right? I have support so much on this because this is such an important area. This is like number one. If you don't start, if you don't do this, then it's not going to happen. So here's the important part. You're going to build a person. I know this sounds so weird. Follow me. Hang with me here. You're building a person. And this person is the person you serve. They don't have to be a real person. They can be based on a real person. This is your person. You know what they like. You know what they love. You know what's important to them. You know their values. You know what they're struggling with. You know where they're going to find content. You know everything about them. It's like, think about your best friend. One of the YouTubers that I love and I respect and I follow and I've gotten to know is Amy Landino. And she's an incredible content creator, an incredible business owner. And she told me once, and I believe she shared this on a YouTube video as well. She said, like, yo, I feel like I'm talking to my best friends. Like on YouTube, when I'm making a video, I don't want anybody else around because I feel like I'm talking to my best friend. And I love that because in the reality, like, think about this. Your best friend is somebody that you know so well. You know them so well. Okay, in the chat, tell me one thing. It doesn't need to be like a secret, like blah. Tell me one thing about their personality that probably no one else knows. You know it because you know them so well. Like a quirk they have or like something funny they do. Tell me what your best friend does because you know. You so know. My best friend and I, we get tired late at night. And if we're together late at night, we literally will just break out into laughter and giggles hysterically. It's so ridiculous. And it's so funny because we're literally like, there was one time where we were saying okay to like hit the pause button, like, okay, let's stop laughing. Like, okay. And we'd literally just keep on going through this routine. That's how we are together, especially late at night. Like, she just cannot stop laughing. We have such a good time together. Like, But she's not that way with everyone. In fact, most people in her life, she's not that way with. So there's things that I know about her. There's struggles. There's like all this stuff. Like I know it because I'm her best friend and she's my best friend. So Abby says her best friend, she sneezes hard enough to shake the building. I make fun of her sometimes, something awful for it. She's traumatized coworkers. She's traumatized coworkers before. I love that, right? Like it's like, and you get to laugh about it because you both know this, but it's like, you know this, right? You know, right? I love that. Keep putting the comments in the chat. I love it. So here's what we get to create. We get to create an actual person. We think about this person when we close our eyes. Before we make content, we think about this person. I have a person. Here's what I'm going to share with you. And this is like, man, this might blow some of your minds. My person might blow some of your minds because you get to do this too. But we'll get there. We'll get there. So here's the thing. You get to know what they like, what they're struggling with. You know, where do they want to go? What's their vision? What are they wanting to create? What are they like really hyped about? How do they feel about education, right? Do your people love traditional college or do they struggle with that and they want to do something untraditional? My audience, like they kind of fight against it a little bit. They're like, I don't fit. I don't fit. Like I know that about my people. You get to ask yourself, okay, does this person, and you know what? You just get to choose. Okay. I want to make this very clear. There is not a right and a wrong in this. You get to create this. So many times when we're making choices, and this is where I fell into when I started kind of crafting who my audience was, I fell into this feeling of like, man, I don't want to get it wrong. Let's hit a pause button on that real quick because that is one of the most detrimental things you can do in a business when you're branding things, when you're marketing, when you're building anything for people. Being like, I don't know if this will work is like the first step to inaction and like analysis paralysis. So we don't want to be there. We just get to choose and play with it, experiment, have fun with it, right? Like we just get to jump in and do it. So think about that person. When you close your eyes, you know what they look like, you know what they like, you know what they're struggling with, you know how they feel about things, you know what their values are. And literally, like, what I want you guys to do, and some of you will have a hard time doing this by yourself, and I'll have support for you guys. We'll have space for you guys to actually jump in and get support around this specific process. Some of you are like, no, okay, yeah, I got this, right? So what I want you to create after we're done with the session, what I want you to create is your person. You can journal it. If you're an artist, you can draw it out. Like whatever you want to create that's really going to connect you with these people, with this person, you get to craft who that is. Now, let me tell you why this is so important. If you don't know who your person is, if you don't know who you're serving, if you can't close your eyes at night and know exactly who that sentence was meant for, you're going to get frustrated, you're going to get overwhelmed, and you're going to be unclear about what content you're creating. And let me tell you, this comes back to choice, right? If we are in indecision, if we're in analysis paralysis, if we are unclear about what we are creating, that is like, it so kills creativity. Anybody like you've been there in your life, like it's killed it. Like you just, if you're not clear on where you're going, what the direction is, it's like, I don't know what to do and I don't want to do the wrong thing. And like, right? It feels yucky. It feels so hard. So let me tell you, when you get clear on this and you start with someone, you start with this, like it could be fictional, it can be real. I'm going to dive into that. If you start with this, you have somewhere to go. Now, this person can change because guess what? People change, right? Like people change. But if you start with this, you've got somewhere to go. And then you can learn and grow with this person. Now, this sounds so weird to some of you. You're like, Katie, you're talking about an artificial fictional person. Abby's probably having like the time of her life with this. She's like, fictional writer, woo, like, yeah. Here's the thing. My person, my audience, get this. This might blow some of your minds. My audience is me. My audience is me. Let me rephrase because I don't want you guys to get. My audience was me. My audience was me. So let me dive into this. I constantly, and I want to be transparent. I really want you guys to know the struggle that it is when you're not clear. and when you're constantly in indecision because you're afraid to make the wrong one. Like, this is how it feels. I've been supporting people in building YouTube channels ever since I was in middle school and high school. And that's been a bit. It's been a while. I mean, I'm not ancient, but it's been a while. Like, I've learned this stuff and grown up with this stuff, and I've really like 10x'd my experience and the strategy and just like understanding what it's all about. And for so many of those years, I was so overwhelmed and stressed. Like, I got myself to the point last year. Last year was interesting. Last year I vlogged for a whole month every single day. It was a stretch. It was one of the stretchiest things I'd ever done in that time. And I vlogged for every single day, daily vlogging for a month. And I took at least 3 months. I can't even remember how many months it was. I took 3 or 4 months off after I stopped vlogging because I was exhausted, because I was frustrated with myself, because my life didn't look the way I wanted it to, and I wasn't getting the response. And what I wasn't hearing is people were saying, "Oh my goodness, this is changing my life. Oh my goodness, I love your vlogs. They're so meaningful. Oh my goodness, like, this is so amazing. This is encouraging me." I wasn't hearing it because it didn't look the way I wanted it to look, and I wasn't clear on who I was serving. I wasn't clear on who I was serving. Now, hear me out. You can be impacting people even if you don't know who you're serving. But let me tell you, it is a whole lot easier and a whole lot more fun if you are clear on who you're serving, knowing you're impacting them right now. I had this moment yesterday with a client. Knowing you are there for them, being clear who you are there for, and really like getting in it with them, like impacting them, supporting them, stretching them, creating a vision with them. My business is about every single one of my clients. It's not about me. It's about what they want to build. So here's the thing. I finally got clear on who my audience was. Now I got to play. That's all good. We get to experiment. We get to play messy. We get to try things out. We get to like have some fun. Here's the thing. My audience was me a year ago. The people that I connect to in my real life, the people that I love, that I'm inspired by, that I'm like, I'm in it with them, are the people that are experiencing what I experienced last year. So I want you to take a deep breath and think about, wow, like if I'd gone through something really cool, like if I experienced a really hard time in my life and I came out on the other side with a different perspective, did I learn a really cool skill and it's propelled me forward? Like, think about in your life a situation where you had some serious growth, right? Something you're passionate about, something you get hyped about. When people ask you like, like what's gone on in your life? Like, what's your story? You're like, this is where it's at. Think about that person. What did that person need to hear before they hit that big breakthrough? What did that person need support on before they hit that big breakthrough? What happened in their life? What's going on with them, right? Who are they? What do they love? These questions again. What do they love? What do they struggle with? What do they need support on? Who are they watching? Who are they paying attention to? Who are they listening to? Is it the people who will serve them or is it the people who won't? Like, look at your past and say, I wonder if there's something there. Because let me tell you, one of the most eye-opening things that I've experienced on YouTube is realizing I am not alone. Realizing I am not alone. I'm not alone in the struggle. I'm not alone in the joy. I'm not alone in the interests that I have. I am not alone. This is a powerful community where we learn to lift each other up. And that is everything I've experienced and nothing else. I have experienced only incredible, incredible support in this space because creators are creative. They're collaborators. They want to be together. They want to support each other. They want to learn. They want to be challenged. This is the space for you to be if you want to level up. If you want to level it up. Now, here's the power of this. When you think about your past, and sometimes, to be honest, for some of you, this may be a painful thing. You're like, I don't want to go there. That's okay. But I want you to think about the possibility of your audience actually being you or who you were. Think about it. What did you want to hear, right? What would have just blown your mind? Wow, right? So I want you to just play with that in your head, right? It's a possibility. And it's something that has like landed the plane for me because I suddenly realized the reason I wasn't connecting to all these other people is because I was trying to create content for other people that I wasn't passionate about and I wasn't really crazy connected to. And so I'm learning how to shift that, right? And every single person that's in my community is learning how to shift too. Not just because of me, but like because they're learning how to think differently. They're learning how to level it up. So we get to level it up together. Okay. So I wanna get you guys something really, really cool, and we're actually gonna watch it today, which is awesome. I'll get there. Um, so we go through like this whole process of like who are we serving, right? Like who are they? What if they're us? Like whatever. Here's why this is so impactful for you. I want this to come back to you, right? I want you to know the power of YouTube, the power of creating content online that connects globe to globe, like literally all over the globe. I have people in my community everywhere in the world. Everywhere in the world. I FaceTime them. Some of them are my closest friends. Like I've created a community that's not about money. It's about value. It's about collaboration. It's about service. This is why serve is the first of the 3 steps. If you don't start with the foundation of service, you will constantly be looking for validation. You will constantly be looking for reasons why it's wrong or it's right or it's good enough or it's not good enough. And that is exhausting. That is exhausting. I've been there. I've played that game. I've played that game with people. It's miserable. And one of the things that I notice, especially about my age group, but it applies to so many people, especially you've got the younger people who are coming out of high school and they're so sick of traditional education that they just want out of everything. And then you've got the people who've been in corporate their whole life and they're exhausted and they want something new and they just want to do something with their life. Now, here's the power of this. This brings them into a space of possibility of something else besides what they've already created. Wow. We get to honor that together. If that's you, I honor you for seeing something else. Here's what I would invite you to think about as we continue with today. Are you lone wolfing or are you empowering? Are you lone wolfing or are you empowering? Here's what can happen. This happened to me. Here's what can happen. When we push away from something, sometimes we can isolate ourselves. Sometimes we can isolate ourselves. And what happens is we don't grow. Think about a plant that needs water, right? It needs somebody. It needs somebody to water it. It needs, the sky to water it. It needs maybe people to water it. Like it can't just lone wolf. If it lone wolfs, it dies. It dies, right? It's dependent on something to give to it so that it grows. Some plants are not that way, and those are the ones that just never die. Too bad I'm not that. I am not that. I refuse to isolate myself because I've learned the hard way through being in the hospital, through going through, depression and going through chronic pain. I've learned that lone wolfing doesn't serve anybody. The power of this is that you get to choose something better for you. It's not about like opting out and not opting into something else. It's about closing one door and opening another, right? We get to have support, whatever that looks like. For you, that may look like this community. For others, that may look like looking somewhere else and finding someone who really lands with you and supports you. I don't care, but you get to have support. You get to have support around what you're building and the big vision, the big life that you're up to. And I had an incredible, incredible interview with one of those people out there that just blows my mind and is an incredible content creator, has built a huge empire, multiple empires. And I had the honor and privilege of being in my space in December. And I had a crazy interview with him. And I want to share that with you. And the reason I'm sharing this with you is because this is what you need to hear. This is what you get to hear. This is what you deserve to hear right now. You get to hear the truth, someone who's being honest with you. You get to hear the possibility. And Benji Travis, for any of you who know Benji Travis, he's an incredible content creator. He's built a massive community. He's on fire. He's still on fire. He's going strong. He's married. He has kids. And he's just telling it how it is. And he's supporting so many content creators in supporting themselves. And I had him in my space. It was so powerful. It was so exciting. And we just got to have this conversation. So I want to show this with you. This will be about 28 minutes or so. Settle in, take some notes. This is incredible. I'll be in the chat while we're doing this. And then I'll come back afterward and close this out and give you guys some support around what's your next step before tomorrow, because some of you are like, I don't want to wait until tomorrow to be in your space. Like, I don't want to wait. And just so you know, before we start this, we're going to be having a Q&A in my private Facebook group. If you go, I'm actually going to copy this again. If you go into my email list, if you click the link that I'm just dropping right now, click that, put in your information. I will get you immediately into the Facebook group. That's an incredible space. We're going to have a Q&A in there. Any questions that you have are going to go in that space and you'll get supported there. So that's what's going up next, but I will close this out and give you some support around how can you implement serve into your life and into your content that you're creating. So let's jump into Benji. He's going to be incredible. Let's rock this out. I'm going to turn you up a little bit.
Hello, everyone. Glad to be here. Excited to talk about YouTube, everything to do with being a YouTuber.
Awesome. I'm so excited. Everybody's like so excited for you. I'm excited. Everyone's excited. We can't wait. We can't wait to hear what you have to share with us. So, I'm like, for anybody who doesn't know you, which there's not going to be many of them, but if there is anyone that doesn't know you, just share about yourself and what you do and like all the cool stuff.
For sure. And please, Katie, let me know if people can still hear me or if my volume needs to be turned up. My name is Benji Travis. I've been a YouTuber for over 10 years, specifically 12 years. I started off supporting my wife, who is the star of my life. And she started sharing beauty techniques, whether it's makeup or hairdos, with her audience. And I was really the businessman in the background. We found that this was a huge opportunity for her to follow her passion, and I got passionate about it as well. So a few years after that, started a vlog channel. It's done pretty well. We just hit 1 billion video views this year. So that just goes to show you how serious we got. And that was, I'd say, about 3,500 uploads later. And about 5 years ago, my friend Sean and I, who was originally my videographer for different projects, we thought to write a book. And the book is YouTube Secrets, which I have right here. You can get it on Amazon and Audible. But we thought, you know what, let's go ahead and start a YouTube channel to connect with the exact audience that we want to sell this book to, or that we feel would benefit from something like that. And 4 years later, we finally finished the book. But that channel, Video Influencers, has 500,000 subscribers. Actually more than that, I think like 600,000. But these are people aspiring to be creators who are influencers, who are currently crushing it, not just with video on YouTube, but online video all over on different social media platforms. So needless to say, I love YouTube. I love social media. I really do feel there's a lot of opportunity, especially now in 2020 and beyond.
Yeah, I love it. I love that attitude. Like, there's so much inconsistency right now. And yet, like, just having a positive attitude and saying like there's so much opportunity and running with it, being able to pivot, being able to figure out what to change and what to keep is so important. So you've been doing this for a long time, and it's been a lot of work and a lot of effort. And oftentimes for those who don't do YouTube, and even for those of us who do YouTube, sometimes we can get stuck in this feeling of like, is this legit? And I'm not making money from it right now. And I feel like I'm just kind of building, but I don't know when it goes from me putting all this time into it and not really getting any return, like any financial return. Like, talk to us about how that felt when you started. Like, what was your mindset? How'd you go from like just doing YouTube to like, this could be a business?
Yeah, the first thing I want to mention is I appreciate that people will hustle and work hard. Yeah. And I know that it can be difficult and there's a lot of challenges. I mean, there's a lot of things you have to learn if you've never done YouTube. I started out as a new YouTuber. I didn't know anything about recording videos, editing content, uploading to YouTube. I had no online experience other than maybe using it kind of casually. I did edit a little bit before I started YouTube, but it was just really for fun. But the one thing I want to mention is just because you work hard, there's no guarantee of payment. You know, like the reason you get paid, the reason that you receive some kind of financial reward is because you're offering a value that somebody values enough to be able to pay you. And the reason I bring that up is working hard isn't enough. I believe, and, you know, I teach my kids this all the time. It's like, how do we make money? She's like, oh, work hard. And I was like, but work hard and smart. And you always have to work hard. So working smart isn't necessarily meaning that you have to be a genius at this. What you have to figure out is what are the things that you need to work on that would actually be valuable, that would receive that financial reward. And that's why I bring it up, because I see a lot of people who follow us will audit channels. They'll say the exact same thing. I've been doing this for a year or 2 years or however long. I've even seen people that have uploaded 100 times. But then you dive into their content, you look at their videos, and they're not following the best practices. In this book, YouTube Secrets, the reason we wrote this is because there's basic principles to success, not just on this platform, YouTube specifically, but all platforms that you have to be following. But if you're not following like one because you decide like that's not important, well, we can't really help you. Like we came up with these 7 principles because we know those are the end all be all principles that we see in every single creator after interviewing almost 200 influencers. So I'd say that I want to acknowledge that, but also make that statement. There is no promise to any kind of financial reward. Secondly, it definitely takes a lot of work. In the beginning, I wouldn't say it was easier, but there were just less creators. My wife even says it all the time. She misses an intimate, smaller community that YouTube once was previous to 2010. When people start making money, guess what? Other people also want to make money as well. And this is why I believe Video Influencers has done so well. Sean, who also is a co-founder of that channel, he has his own channel and he's just blowing up in 2020. It's because people right now are struggling, are hurting. They want to create some side income or change their whole career, start a business, and YouTube is a great way to do it. So there's a lot more competition. I definitely want to acknowledge that, and it is more competitive. This is why it's important to not only follow these principles, but to always be aspiring to be better, to have higher quality content, whether it's the lighting, the video, the editing, or even the actual context of whatever's in the value that people expect from your video. So that means like better information, more educational, more entertaining. All these things come into play when it comes to that their first beginning struggle. And there's no set timeline. Every type of genre of content, every niche industry, whatever the type of channel you're creating is all going to have its own separate timelines. This is why the one last thing I'll say on this is you got to put on the blinders. You can't look at all these competitors or these channels that have already had 10 years under their belt, right? They've already figured out, they've already got a following. You definitely can't look at the shiny stuff. Don't look at what all these other people are trying to sell you. By the way, Sean and I, we sell a whole bunch of educational courses, right? We have this book. We're trying to get you to be part of our group coaching. But in the beginning, what's most important to focus on is yourself and your content, and just be better tomorrow than you were today. The upload that goes up now is not going to be as good as the one that goes up tomorrow or the next week, whatever your schedule is. And that is a key. Video to video, 100 videos. And I promise, if you're following the principles, if you're watching these experts and you're learning from them, and you're also just being frank and objective about what works on YouTube through the other competitors in your niche, you will get better and you're going to get closer to that. And then the last thing in addition to that little rant about working hard is, remember, patience is so key. Nothing's promised, but also it takes time. It takes time to be successful, whatever you start in life in general, and especially in YouTube.
I love that you started by saying, hey, like, you got to have the right mindset about this. I feel like you both, I think I like watched a video of you guys like way back where you were like, you need to be willing, you need to have the mindset that you're willing to do this for free before you get paid for this, because that's where the personal development and the personal growth is going to come in. And also having that mindset of like, this is value that I'm bringing to my audience. This is stuff that they need to love, that need to solve problems for them, that need to entertain them. So if we're constantly thinking about that, then we're going to have the right mindset to get better and to do better. There's like I feel like there's like a huge misconception about how you get paid on YouTube. And people fall into that a lot because they'll be like, well, I've been doing this for a year and I've been doing all this stuff and I'm not getting paid and YouTube isn't paying me. There are so many different ways that you can monetize YouTube once you are established. And I love for you to share like how you figure that out and what type of, like, there's different ones. Just share.
Yeah, keep in mind, I mean, I would never expect a completely free platform that gives you all these tools without any kind of charge
Yeah.
to pay me just because I'm uploading content. This is not like a paycheck scenario. This is not a job where they're your employer and you're the employee. And just because you do work, if you want a job, you work for like a YouTuber, you work at a studio, you work where they expect you to create content at a certain quality, at certain expectations, and then you're going to get paid for that service. YouTube is not like that. And this is why everybody that's on YouTube by default is an entrepreneur, because the pay is very democratic in the sense that people upload content, and if enough people watch, you're going to make some AdSense income as long as you're monetized, obviously, right? And there's obviously so many different ways to create business models, create income for yourself, and some more lucrative than others. And so again, I'm going back to some of the base harsh realities that when you sign up for YouTube with an email and you started a channel, even if you think that you have the greatest banner, you're starting to upload videos, there is no guarantee there, right? Even if you do. And this is why the reason I keep hanging on this is because if you don't realize this, you're going to get frustrated. You're going to complain, or you're going to think that like, hey, you're owed something. That's not the mindset that's going to help you become successful. What you got to do is like realize it's all on you. In fact, since the beginning, anytime Judy and I ever had issues with YouTube, something's not working with our video, or for some reason we're not getting monetized at the same degree as we expected, I don't like point fingers at them. I'm like, okay, what are we doing wrong? Like, what can we fix? Like, YouTube set it up so that they don't actually have to have customer service. Don't get me wrong. There's definitely issues that they need to fix, right?
Yeah.
But this is the mindset I've always had. I'm like, it's all on me. And because of it, as you're hustling, as you're trying new things, I'd say that's the first thing. Try different models. Because depending on your genre, your niche of content, your audience, and then what vibes with you, what do you have the most skills around, will determine what business model works the best. And then after you try a few things, figure out which ones are the best, which ones you monetize. Now, in my opinion, there's two ways that I've been able to monetize the best, or that I think are the most lucrative for most people. And number one, it's either digital courses, some kind of coaching, something around teaching what you know. Funny enough, when you start a YouTube channel and you're learning how to create great content and deliver some kind of value to somebody else, you have to be good at something, right? Like there has to be something that is in your video that you're adding into it that people want to watch, whether it's entertainment because you're funny, right? Whether it's informative because you're on top of the latest trends, or you're just reporting on current events, or educational because literally you know so much about something that you can teach somebody. If you keep doing that and upping your skills and learning, the latest things in that industry, if it's a profession that you're sharing, ultimately you're going to probably know more than somebody else. And so even if you're a beginner, you can create a course for people that are complete beginners, right? Obviously, if you're an expert, you can teach beginners. So wherever you're at, there's somebody in the world, especially when there's 2 billion logged in users that need to learn something, and you could offer that through a course. And you don't have to have $1,000 course. You can sell a $20 course when you're first starting out. Some people, they just need some part-time income to bridge the gap from what they're doing at a job or in a career, or like maybe another profession, to doing this full-time, becoming a YouTuber, having like this lifestyle as an influencer be the 40 hours that you're focused on. And so courses would be number one. Secondly, brand deals. And if you're not familiar with what brand deals are, brand deals is where a business or a company or a big brand wants to pay you to create content for them, or feature their product or service, or work with them in some degree. And the reason this is so lucrative, because brands, businesses, even small mom and pop shops, right? Brick and mortar stores.
Yeah.
They're an expert at the product they sell. They're an expert at the service they provide, not in creating content. I do believe all those businesses should be creating content if they want attention, right? And not be at the mercy of ads, not be at the mercy of doing brand deals. Like, they definitely should, but they just don't. And that's just the nature of things, right? They like specialized skills. So they work with influencers like my wife and I. This is how we've been able to make a 7-figure income for the last, I want to say, about 5+ years. And even the years previous to it, working with brands was the most lucrative part of our business. But secondly, to connect with an audience that they want to connect with. They have this product or service that they want to get into the hands of these potential customers, and you've got a relationship with your audience. So those are two separate things. One, the content itself, which costs some money, right? And this is why, even as a beginner, if you're creating great high quality content, you can sell that content, right? It might not be the traditional brand deal where they're paying you for the influence you have, but that content in itself could literally cost hundreds, if not $1,000. Secondly, your influence is very valuable, and never discount that, because especially if you're somebody that's been working at this for years and it took you, 5 years to get to 10,000, 50,000, 100,000 subscribers. Well, don't ever discount that relationship that you've built, because that relationship over time turns into trust. And that's what the brands don't have. And that's why they pay big money to get into that conversation, into that relationship, because that trust will lead to a sale.
I love that. That's such a great, clear explanation of the different ways to make money and exactly how they work. And I love your emphasis. Like, I really do appreciate your emphasis on having the right mindset when you're walking into YouTube, right? Like, so many people I talk to are like, they almost have this like really grumpy attitude about their experience with YouTube, because they were expecting to be paid when they put a video up. And it's like what a great opportunity, instead of like being judgmental, or like just be grateful that like we have this platform where we can actually interact with people and share content and have ways of making money off of it, which is so, so cool.
Totally.
Awesome.
I'd say that's probably one of my biggest benefits to that type of mindset is I just don't complain about YouTube, about social media, about internet. I mean, outside, you know what I do complain about is my cable provider when I don't get that internet, right? Because I pay good money for that. But outside of that, I have Facebook, it's completely free. Like, they want to take my information. Well, that I made that choice. Even if I didn't read the fine print, right? They are offering a platform to be able to connect with family and friends. And the trade-off is they get information about you to be able to provide a service to people that want to, like, to me, like, anytime people have this revelation, like the what is that new documentary right now? It's called The Social Dilemma. Okay. It's all the rage because people feel like they're slaves to this algorithm and they have no control. Literally, you can just put your phone away. You can turn off your TV. You don't have to go to these apps. I mean, nothing is forcing you. The reason people watch those is because there's great content. The reason that we fall into this behavior of watching an hour, 2 hours, by the way, sometimes I do too on YouTube, is because there's stuff that I want to see, like content I want to consume that's actually valuable to me, even if it is kind of almost like a zombie-ish way of watching. Well, it's because it's just entertainment, right? Or just something that is keeping us busy, maybe during a hard time, maybe not a hard time, right? Just so many different scenarios. So when people like that I haven't even watched the whole documentary because I feel like I understand it being a creator, because understanding the algorithm is such a big part of what you do as an influencer. But complaining doesn't help anybody. And I'll tell you this, I've never had to complain my way to success. In fact, it's the opposite. It probably would hinder it, because the time you spend complaining or inquiring about this problem or trying to see if there's other people like that are also complaining, you could have been creating content. You could have been posting something and connecting with a potential subscriber, right? And that time is very precious.
Okay, I'm going to hit pause because that is so important. I promise every single one of you are going to get the whole interview, and there's like, I don't know, like 10, 15-ish minutes left on that. And I'm gifting this to all of you. Every one of you will get access to that. Just like put me in the chat if you want access to that interview. Some of you may have already have been given access to it. And if you need links or updates on that, totally let me know. But put me in the chat if you want access to the full interview with Benji Travis. I will gift it to you for free. I'm not selling it. It's just, I'm going to give it to you. Okay. I had to stop there because that's such a huge, it's everything that he's given us. It's a lot, right? It's a lot. But here's the power of what he just said. Like, stop complaining. Complaining doesn't do anything. Complaining is not leadership. Complaining is not leadership. Hear me out here. Complaining is not leadership. And you guys, for those of you who are in my community, you hear me talking about leading our lives as essential to being a content creator who is impacting the world. So you know I talk about this a lot. For some of you who are not familiar with me, if you hang out in my space, you will be challenged. You will be challenged. It's not a place to be comfortable and hang out in our comfort zone and just create the same kind of content. Like when you're here, you're going to be challenged. Everything that Benji has shared with you is the possibilities, right? He's being truthful and honest with you. And if you guys are wondering, like, where is this interview from? I have an online summit that I do absolutely for free multiple times a year. We have another one coming up September 9th. That's where that's from. We have multiple experts on who give you so much support, high-level content creators who are building like scale up, like amazing stuff. They're giving you so much support. That's where that's from. But you guys are all getting it. Any of you who put in the chat, you want it, like you get it. So Mimi, I see you. Okay, perfect. Cool. So here's the thing that I want to share with you right now, because everything that Benji's talking about is, hey, yo, you got to have value. You got to have things that people actually value. You've got to have content or authority in a space where it's like, yo, people want this, right? But if you want to know what people want, you need to know what people want it. You got to know who you're looking for first. I love that Benji shared how the reality is we get to play, we get to try things, we get to experiment, we get to show up, and we just get to jump in and do it. And that's really, really what I want for you guys, because at the end of the day, like you jumping in with a coach, you jumping in with a program, you jumping in with something, like that's when you know you want to give something a solid try. You want to really commit to creating something, because at the end of the day, like you creating something without that commitment to giving it a solid, like putting all of yourself into it, like, man, when you create that kind of thing, like it's incredible the results you create. But how many of us are holding ourselves back from just jumping in and creating something because we're afraid we want it to look a certain way? So when I share with you my 3 steps, serve, build, and grow, when I'm talking about those steps, I'm talking about how do you do that, right? Like how do you build something that's powerful, right? How do you serve to those people? How do you grow? How do you scale it, right? And we're going to be talking about build tomorrow. We're going to be talking about grow on Saturday. It's going to be really impactful. You guys are going to absolutely love the content you're getting. And if you love it right now, if you love the content right now, put love in the chat. Put love in the chat so that I know who you are. I know that you're getting value. And if you guys have questions, you need to get on that email list and you need to go over to the Facebook group and jump in and take action and ask your questions in that space. You can send me an email, like whatever you need to do, make it happen. Get that question to me, Facebook Messenger. You can do it in the chat, like whatever. But if you're loving this, if you're getting value from this, put love in the chat. Put love in the chat. Okay, so here's where I want to land the plane so you guys are supported. I'm keeping it strictly to an hour because I don't want you guys to get overwhelmed with so much content and then analysis paralysis comes back and you're like, I don't know what to do. So the reality is, everything that has been shared today, me sharing the first step of my process with you, Benji sharing value about, hey, what's the reality of YouTube? What's the reality of being a creator anywhere? And giving us some really good ideas of what the possibilities are, right? All of this is here to support you in seeing the value of you. Let me explain this. We're showing you the value of you. You have every opportunity to create what you need. You have every possibility in your life to create what you want. You have what it takes. You get to create support. You get to create clarity. You get to like jump in and you get to jump in with people. I think it's one of the most underutilized utilized, I think it's one of the most underutilized tools out there, is the reality that we get to have support. We get to have a community. We get to have people around us. I will share with you the first 6 months of being on YouTube, I did it alone. I did it alone. I'm the only entrepreneur, really. I'm the only entrepreneur in my family, and I'm the only content creator in my family. So I didn't have friends that knew YouTube and wanted to do it with me. I didn't have anybody. And literally one of really my favorite content creator in the world. He's been my favorite forever. I've watched him forever, and I finally got to meet him last year. Like, it was incredible. Him and his wife are absolutely amazing. And he gave me an amazing gift of saying, yo, like, get into my community and get with creators who are creating. Get with content creators who are doing it with you. And that supported me in jumping to the next level. And I tell you this because if I had not had that support, I would have given up. I know that about myself. I would have given up. Because anything that is powerful and impacting the world is about service. It's about the people that you serve. And if you're doing things alone, how effective are you? Now, I want to speak to our moms here, our moms and our dads. Like, how effective are you with serving your family if you're doing everything by yourself? If you're doing everything by yourself, really, like, put that in the chat. If you're a mom, if you're a parent, if you are, a foster parent, if you are taking care of children, if you're taking care of your parents, if you're like, if you are in service of somebody else, how effective are you really doing it by yourself without support, without emotional support from friends, without logistical time support from people who can help you, who can support you? Like, we're not even close to as effective as we could be when we have support, when we have community, when we have people around us who can really pour into us. And this is something that I share with my community. It's something that I really dive into it a lot with myself as well, because anything that I teach other people, if I'm not applying it to myself, if I'm not jumping into it myself, then it's kind of irrelevant, because at the end of the day, you want people in your space that are like walking the talk, right? One of the things I noticed in my life that was really getting a hold of me was this reality of scarcity. Like, scarcity was everywhere. I was like, I don't have the money to level this up, and I don't have the people over here, and I need this, and I don't have enough. Like, constantly all over the place, I was in scarcity of everything. And what I realized is that that was not serving me. That was not serving me. And what I want you to hear right now is that you get to have people that challenge you, that support you in leveling up, that don't allow you to just stay in the same place and have the same stories and have the same excuses of why you're not doing something. Sometimes, oftentimes, can I get an amen if this applies to you, if this really lands with you? Sometimes we fight harder for our excuses than the possibility of what we want. Are you one of those people right now? Like, we just get to be authentic. We get to be honest with each other. Are you one of those people right now where you are fighting so hard for the excuses in your life right now that you can't even see the possibility? And everybody around you is like, yeah. And you're like, I don't see it. And it's not because it's not there. It's not because it's not there. It's because you get to take those glasses off. You get to clean them. You get to put them back on. And then you can see. You can really see what's possible, what's in front of you. That's what this is about. And that's why, I'm going to be honest with you guys. About a week and a half ago, I had this like huge moment where I really needed some legit coaching and support. And I was like getting into the middle of like, I don't know if YouTube's the space I want to be in. And I don't know, like, I don't know if it's just all the, I'm getting stuck in overwhelm. And it was like, I got so stuck on it being about YouTube, the phone, right? Just as we're almost done, the phone has to ring. Bear with me. So here's the thing. I realize over and over again, and guess what? Like, you constantly get to ground yourself in this. And this is why it's so important to have support in your life. You get to ground yourself on the reality that this is about service. This is about giving value. It's not about the platform it's being given on. Because if YouTube went away tomorrow, guess what? All of us creators who are grounded in the value that we are giving are going to find a way. We're going to find a way to create what we need to create. It doesn't need to be on YouTube. It can be anywhere. That's the power of leading the content you create. That's the power of leading your clients, leading your audience, leading the value that you have. It doesn't matter where it happens. It doesn't matter what platform it's on. You have the value. You have every opportunity to create what you want to create in the world. Every opportunity. That means you get to have support. That means you get to be challenged. That means there gets to be structure in your life that supports you in creating that. That doesn't mean you do it alone. It means you have the opportunity to create whatever you want to create. So I want to share something really special with you guys. I'm going to copy it and make sure I have it. I'm going to share something really special with you guys. And this is absolutely free. This is my gift to you. Not only are you going to be getting the video for, not only are you going to be getting the recording for Benji Travis. And here's what I would ask for those of you who want that recording, make sure you're in my email list because I don't want you sharing your email addresses on YouTube or publicly just for safety for you. So literally just jump into the email list. Let me make sure I actually have it up here. I'm going to share this with you guys now. Jump in and make sure that you're on my email list so that I have your address and I can actually send it to you safely. And then on top of that, so not only are you getting that, sorry that I'm dropping so many links. I need to simplify this. I'm going to put down gift. This is a gift from me to you. If you want it, take it, make it happen. This is a gift from me to you. And this is 45 minutes with me to ground on service. Who are you offering? Who are your people? We get to paint that picture. We get to have that done. What would it feel like for you? Legitimately ask yourself this question. What would it feel like for you by the end of the day to be clear on who you want to serve in the world? It's not even about YouTube. It's not about you coaching with me. This is absolutely free. There is no offer. This is free. This is my gift to you. This is 45 minutes of coaching around what you want to create in the world, who you want to create, who you want to be with, who's on the journey with you. Maybe this is you in the past. Maybe this is your best friend when she was struggling. Maybe this is a family member. Maybe this is someone you've never met. Maybe this is completely fictional and based on characteristics that you want to see in the world. Whatever it is, if you want support on that, if you want to support on building out that so that you're clear on who you serve, jump into that. Make it happen. It's absolutely free, 45 minutes with me. It's going to be so chill, but it's going to be tons of value. And you are going to be walking out of the door with clarity on who that person is. And let me tell you, when you have clarity on who that person is, everything gets easier after that. Everything gets easier. You know who you want to serve. Then we just get to ask the questions of yo, how are we building this? How are we growing it out, right? What are we doing here? That's what we get to create together. So we're just almost at time. I want in the comments, I want to hear what landed with you most. What is a sentence or something that you're really thinking about right now? A possibility, something that was said, something that you're kind of coming out of this. Let me know what that is. You can put it in the comments now. You can message it to me, whatever, right? Wherever you just get it to me, right? Because this is going to ground it. This is really going to land the plane for you. When you share what you're learning with other people, it helps formulate that thought. It helps formulate that idea. I'm telling you this because this is so where I'm at. So jump in, make it happen. Let's go. Let's rock it out. I hope you all have an incredible Thursday. I can't even remember what day it is, right? I'm so hyped. I can't remember what day it is. I still can't. Happy Thursday. Hope you all have an amazing day. Again, make sure you're on my email list because I will get you access to my Facebook group. We're going to have a Q&A in there where you guys are going to get all of your questions answered. If you have questions live, you can ask them then. If you want them submitted later, if you can't make it, if you need to watch the replay, whatever, right? Whatever. Make it happen. There's so many opportunities for you to get those questions in. You can email them to me. That's the best way to get to me. Or if you want to go into Facebook or Instagram, go to my links are everywhere on YouTube. They're everywhere on Facebook. So you'll be able to find me. So tell me what you learned. What did you learn here? What are you really grounding on right now? What's yeah, this is what it is, right? Verbalize it to somebody, put it in the comments, make it happen. All right. I love you all. Have an amazing, amazing Thursday, and I will see you at the Q&A a little bit later. You're all going to get email responses, reminders about that Q&A as well. So, all right. Goodbye.